Bitcoin, again, trading between these two lines. But look, today's low right down there. And here you had it here, 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 and then even right back here, and these highs, okay, all through here. So
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, Gareth Soloway dives into his trades of the day for Bitcoin, the looming market flush, and brewing crypto troubles. Let's catch him up to uncover his insights and strategies.
again, very obvious that this is support. It pierced it today by a little bit, and then it floated up. That float, again, coexisting with the stock market initially selling, which pushed Bitcoin down, and then floating back up, which helped Bitcoin come back up. But again, this is your resistance line here. This is your support right down there. You're watching as a trader, which way does it break? And whichever way it breaks, I actually think there'd be a significant move. If you break here, I think you go back all the way up here, which could be as high as 115 on Bitcoin. If you break here, you're probably going down to the 74, 75,000 range. So this is something that probably we will figure out in January. I think at some point in January, which is just a few days away, it might not be right away in January, but at some point we'll get that bigger move break, and then it's going to be very fast and crazy to that next target price. Gold today, not much movement on gold. Little trend line right here. We're kind of hovering right on this line. Again, down move, sideways inside bar. That's a little more bearish. So again, the bias for me, it's been kind of flip-flopping a little bit here. Slightly bullish, slightly bearish. Again, it is slightly bearish based on today's price action. Granted, not enough to really solidify and say, okay, let's put some money in that direction. But again, right now I'd be leaning, if I had to the downside on gold. If we look at silver today, silver continues to have that bearish pattern play out. You can see we've already talked about it here. Down move, this is a bear flag. The breakdown, little bear flag again. I thought it might go up to this line and get rejected, which would have been the scene of the crime. It didn't even have enough energy to go there, and now it's just down ticking here and likely headed down to that target. Where's that target for me? It would be right down here. Again, notice what I'm doing. High pivot, high pivot, high pivot, a breakout. This would be a retrace to the scene of the crime. You would be a buyer, or at least I shouldn't say you. For me, I just speak for myself. You would be a buyer for a move up, or I would be a buyer for a bounce back off of this level here. Oil today continued to creep up, heading towards 73. That was that bias that I gave you guys. Once we got above this line and confirmed, again, close above. We don't know the direction yet. It could be a fake out. No confirmation. Confirmed. So now it's a confirmed breakout, which means this is major support. It defends it. It hammers, can't get through because it's major support. And then the move up right there to the upside. And again, I still think we're going to 73, maybe 75, maybe even 78.
MicroStrategy, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, is facing turbulent times as its share price plummets. Over the last 6 weeks, MicroStrategy's stock, MSTR, has fallen a staggering 46%, closing the year at $302 after an 8% drop on Monday. This sharp decline has raised questions about the company's aggressive Bitcoin acquisition strategy, which has defined its financial moves in recent years. A prominent stock market expert known as the Maverick of Wall Street has gone as far as labeling MicroStrategy's approach a Ponzi scheme. The claim hinges on the idea that the company continuously dilutes its shares to finance massive Bitcoin purchases, artificially propping up Bitcoin's value. To date, MicroStrategy has raised $6 billion through convertible bonds and plans to secure an additional $18 billion per further Bitcoin investments. However, critics argue that this dilution strategy may backfire, as the requirement for Bitcoin's price to rise becomes increasingly unrealistic to sustain shareholder value. Meanwhile, Bitcoin itself has seen a significant downturn from its all-time high of $108,000, currently trading at $92,509.85. Although still up 118.92% year-over-year, Bitcoin's recent 4.09% decline over the past month and its bearish technical indicators hint at potential challenges ahead. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, of 63.99 shows bullish momentum, but the trend suggests a possible long-term correction if buyers don't maintain dominance. The MHCD indicator, another critical tool, shows convergence between the NHCD line and the signal line, foreshadowing potential bearish movement. As MicroStrategy doubles down on Bitcoin amid this volatility, the stakes have never been higher. Both the company and its Bitcoin strategy face mounting pressure as investors keep a close eye on the unfolding drama.
And if we look right over here, folks, we can see that the Dow down 250 points, which again is a little over 0.5%. It's not a big move, just a small move there. The NASDAQ taking a little bit of a bigger sell-off today, down at just under 1%, and the S&P down about 0.7%. Always remember that the S&P and the Dow are on either sides. Usually the best performer oftentimes when the NASDAQ is down is the Dow percentage-wise. You can see, again, almost 0.5% difference. And then the S&P is usually somewhere in the middle because it has a little bit of the tech stocks in it and also a little bit of the safety stocks like a Home Depot, a Walmart, and other names like that. So, again, that's kind of why that performance is like that. Now, today we saw oil inching higher. You guys know every single day for the last 2 weeks or so I've been saying the chart on oil is, for the first time in a while, slightly bullish, and we continue to see that today up about 1.3%. Gold today inched a little bit lower. It's still just holding on to key support. But again, as I said last week, it's hard to read right now. Gold is on this pivotal point where it may break down or it may get a little bit of a bounce. I'm starting to lean more towards another leg down based on the price action, but not high enough probability yet to put money on the table in that direction. Bitcoin today was down early, and this is fascinating, folks. So Bitcoin right now is up about $900 on the day, trading at around 94,500. But this was the kicker about Bitcoin, and this is something I've guided you guys to before, is that early in the day when the stock market was getting crushed in the first 30, 40 minutes of the trading day, Bitcoin was down to 92,000, even below 92,000, which is a major technical support we've been talking about testing, right? Then the stock market began to float higher, and guess what? Bitcoin floated back up. So we see that same sort of price action continuing, where again, in big market sells, Bitcoin goes down, but if the market floats back up, Bitcoin comes right back. Risk on, risk off. That's the way it is. Heat map-wise, a lot of red out there, which makes sense. All the main indices are red. One standout here is NVIDIA gaining about 1%. That's actually kind of been an underperformer recently, so it is kind of coming back a little bit. Google only down 0.38%. So again, some big names out there down a lot, some big names just down slightly, but generally that's a lot of red on the heat map showing us how the markets were generally doing today. All right, couple things to go over here. So let's go over to the S&P intraday chart. I just want to show you guys this. This is your intraday starting at 9:30 when the stock market opened. We were gapping lower. We looked at that today in the game plan and how the markets were looking like a pretty sharp drop. It actually continued for the first 30, 45, 50 minutes, and then look at when that selling stopped right there, and the float came in. And then really we're just kind of floating into the end of the day. You're seeing a little bit of selling here into the close, but for the most part, it's not as nasty as it was early in the day. S&P daily chart, very clear and robust chart here. Let's go back to the big board here and take a look at this. And what we can see on this chart here, right, is that kind of wedge pattern here where the S&P kept on hammering, and then eventually broke down, and then it does a classic retrace right there and gets rejected. And again, you can see that's technical analysis 101, where again, once you break the level, you go back to the scene of the crime. You can actually see it over here, right? So over here, and I don't go back too far here because it would just be too small for you guys to see, but here you went up, you hit, you consolidated, you broke down, and then guess what? You went right back to the scene of the crime. That's essentially what just was replicated right here with us breaking down and then retracing and then getting sold into. And this happens over and over again. You could have a trend line that's flat where this happens, where it's like this, breaks down and goes right here and then goes lower. You could have an upsloping trend line like this, where price is hammering, breaks down and goes back right there, and then has that bigger sell-off. But my point of bringing this to your attention is that patterns tend to repeat over and over again because they're replicating human emotion. And remember, And ask yourself this. Do you think someone 30 years ago, 100 years ago, 500 years ago, were their emotions any different? Did they have fear and greed like we do at this day, in this day and age? And the answer is yeah, they did. Absolutely. And so it makes sense that the patterns, and this is why technical analysis can work, replicate over and over, and why technicians, technical analysts can generally, if they do things right and they learn, generally predict with high success of what the levels and price action will ultimately do.
Tether, the issuer of the USDT stablecoin, has made headlines with a significant addition to its Bitcoin reserves. The company transferred approximately $780 million worth of Bitcoin to its corporate treasury, marking its largest acquisition since March. This move aligns with Tether's commitment, announced in May 2023, to allocate up to 15% of its net realized operating profits toward Bitcoin purchases. According to Arkham Intelligence, the latest acquisition involved two substantial transfers on December 30, totaling 8,404.5 BTC, at Bitcoin's trading price of around $92,500. This boosted Tether's holdings to 90,083 BTC, now valued at nearly $8.3 billion. This acquisition solidifies Tether's position as the second-largest private Bitcoin holder, trailing only Block.one. The company's strategy reflects a growing trend among corporations to add Bitcoin to their treasuries, a move driven by the cryptocurrency's robust performance throughout the year. Bitcoin's price doubled in 2024, gaining over 108% year-to-date, despite its recent decline from an all-time high. Tether's aggressive purchase underscores its confidence in Bitcoin's long-term potential, even as market volatility persists. The broader crypto market remains focused on Bitcoin's trajectory as 2024 ends. While institutions have propelled Bitcoin to new heights, sustaining these levels remains a critical challenge. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.